Okay guys, so let's move on to part 9 of our series of creating a shop or e-commerce app in Java quarkus. So just like we created the shop item, let's move on to the user service and create a user. So just like we said, service classes are always going to be referenced and used in our controller classes. So before we do that, now knowing that the user service is going to be used somewhere else, you have to annotate it with an application scope, just like that. Then after that, in this user service class, we're going to be using the user repository class. So in order to use that, we have to call it under the inject, using the inject annotation, and here we're going to annotate, okay, inject, then shop, no, actually it's user, just forgetting, yeah, user repo, yeah, it's user repository, here it is. It's going to be used as user repository, just like that. Okay, so now let's start off with our class public, and this class is going to return a user immediately after, say, creating the user and serving him in the DB. We're going to be returning the user as a response, or a user object. So user is going to be returning a user, and it's called create or save, anyway, in any case, but you can say create a user. The method scope, but you realize you have user needs to be imported. Just like I said, press Alt Enter on Mac and to auto import it to your class. Now you see it's complaining because we are returning a user and we hadn't returned anything. So right now let's create a new user by instantiating a class, a user class, user, just like that, being equal to new user. Okay, and then now remember, just like we said, we're gonna provide or pass some parameters to this method, and those parameters are coming through the user request. Just like a user request, you're going to be providing for whatever is needed for the app or system to create the user, and whatever is needed is actually what consists of the user, and that's the role, the profile pic, the password, and the username. We're going to talk about a little bit differently about the password because we use the byte encryption for the password. So let's first make a request. If we want to create a new user, these are the things we want you to provide as you're creating or signing up. This is actually a sign up process, so this is how we handle the sign up on the back end. So unlike the domain, this is a request class. We don't need these columns. We don't need these columns. Then also we don't need I think the password. Yeah, we don't need you to, yeah, the password will be handled a little bit differently, but yeah, as you're gonna be putting your password, then yeah, you input the password, you encrypt it, and then save the encrypted code or string into the database. Okay, anyways, so let's now roll it up on our service, a user service. You're gonna provide this with the user service request, script R, yeah, it is, and it's a request. Okay, so now one thing is remaining, just assigning whatever is on the DB to whatever has come from the user himself in the process of signing up. So you're gonna say user dot Let's start with probably username that happens to be the first is equal to whatever came from the request dot from the, so we assign the username that you provided us in the request, we assign it to the user column in your DB. User dot, I think we can now work on the email and the request dot email. Then user dot. In the next video we shall be handling exceptions, and we have to handle them successfully because the exceptions of password, exceptions of shop item number, well, we have to regenerate something. Okay, row, then user dot, we provided the row, we've not provided the peak, the profile peak. This will come in as a link, URL, kind of a string. So user dot password. So for now I'm gonna be saving the password the way it is for now, though it's not the right way of saving passwords. We're just saving it for now. Just complete this tutorial, then in the next tutorial we shall be seeing how to handle the password. The password here, you have to encrypt it by the byte encryption, and then you save that encrypted string into the database, but we shall be seeing that in the next tutorial. But right now let's just assign it to the way you've just input it and just save it in DB. Then what else? Do we have anything on the request that has not been taken care of? Where is the user request? Username, email, password, profile pic, row. Where's the profile pic? Kind of not included. That's not good. Okay, user the profile. Oh, this is not user, this is request. That was a mistake. Request the profile pic, and now it's okay. It's no longer complaining on this side. Should be putting this to color purple, showing that it's already usable. Maybe I made a mistake somewhere. Now request the profile pic, password, and then after this you have persist. Persisting means saving into database. So how do we persist? By calling the user repository that we already created. I told you that repository is the class that handles interaction with the DB directly, and then it brings whatever it has brought to the service, or when you bring in a request to the service, we tabulate the request, then send it to the repository. Repository sends a request to the DB and brings data, and then data is delivered to us. So repository is kind of a class that handles first-hand requests to the DB, and from the DB actually requests to the DB and responses from the DB. So user request dot should be persist. We want to persist means saving. Okay, then what do we want to persist? We want to persist this user, same user. Okay, and immediately we persist him. After that we want to return that same user. Okay, I think that's it. Everything looks cool. We haven't reached the stage of testing out things, but in the next story we're probably going to be talking about the databases, after talking about the passwords, the bit root for the password, byte encryption for the password, and also the auto generation for the shop item number. Probably we have to go for talk about a little bit database, how we're going to save everything in the database, then setting up our database. Then after that we shall be looking at on setting up our small Raya and of course Swagger, to see how at least we can run the first program and we experience first-hand results. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.